Welcome to this episode of this, where we're talking about episode 2, a beer story from King of the Hill. You ready to just jump right in? Let's jump right in. I don't know what this character is I'm doing right now, like I'm a news reporter. The very first note I took was that the Nepo baby joke, was funny from Hank, but also kind of felt weird, because it doesn't feel like something that he would ever say, you know? I'm not a Nepo baby. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like, I didn't like it. And I think that that's the problem that I'm seeing, is that it feels too much like I'm watching a news show, and less like I'm watching King of the Hill, you know? Like, there's 150 ways I feel like they could have made that joke that would have been funnier. Not that I can come up with them. I'm not a fucking comedy writer. I just am on the internet being stupid all day. But, like, it felt so weird hearing Hank say that, and I didn't like it very much. I like the part that they're watching a reboot inside of a reboot of... God dang it, what is that show called?
I don't remember.
I don't either. I can't remember the guy's name, but I really want to say his last name is Montoya. Antonio Montoya, is that right? Is that wrong? Am I racist? Maybe.
I don't remember what his name is at all.
Doesn't matter. Peggy doesn't know Spanish still. Like, Peggy to me this whole time has felt exactly like old Peggy. Good. But Peggy to me has felt just like old Peggy the whole time. Will you quit? You're distracting me. But I really loved when like you can see the subtitles down there, and she's like, oh my god, he just said he's gonna slaughter everyone in the village. And Hank goes, he literally just told them to have a Merry Christmas, and she goes, how embarrassing. They got the subtitles wrong. Like, that felt like such a Peggy Hill thing.
They did do Peggy super well in this season.
Also, I'm pretty sure this was the first time we got our Chuck Mangione reference. R.I.P. to him. Okay? I'll be real. R.I.P. to him. But I do like that they added Snoop Dogg as the... Like, it was him and Snoop Dogg, you know?
He's on everything now. Just...
Well, it made sense to me because he played Alabaster, but also because that's what Snoop Dogg does now. Like, he's inside of stores selling shit. So I like that. Oh, Joseph's new voice, it's time to talk about it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I hate it really bad.
It sounded like they try to make him sound like Jonathan Joss, but...
Yeah, like, I don't know if it's a different voice actor than it was before, but before that, Brittany Murphy played him, right, when he was a kid, and then someone else played him, I don't know who, because I'm not well-versed in that knowledge. But that Joseph voice, if it came back, would have made complete sense to me. But this one, it almost feels like a whole new character. And that's another thing, like, while watching it, I've noticed, is that, like...
I do like his character, I just don't like his voice.
Yeah. Is watching all the kids be grown-ups makes sense to me because it feels like I'm watching a new show. Like, the art style doesn't bother me as much. Bobby's voice bothers me a little bit. But, like... What are you gonna do? It kind of just feels like I'm watching a show about like a bunch of 20-year-olds instead of watching like a. Oh, he's pissed. Instead of watching like King of the Hill, you know. Hank got into brewing beer, and I love that it was propane that got him into that because that just made a lot of sense to me. So I really liked that. This episode feels like the last episode when Hank and Bobby are like bonding over cooking and stuff, because I feel like that's what, like, King of the Hill was a whole lot about like Hank learning to cope with all the new things in the world and being like a type guy, you know.
It definitely felt more like a classic King of the Hill episode.
Yeah, like that. It felt like something that Bobby and Hank would do in the older show, but like obviously Bobby couldn't drink beer back then. Now he can. I also like that Peggy named the beer after herself.
The whole episode she was trying to get into.
It was like Peggy Ale, the Margaret something. I can't remember what she said. Margaret Lager or something like that. But it was really funny because that, like, not everyone, but like a lot of people hate Peggy just as a character. I genuinely love Peggy as a character, and
She's definitely one of my favorites.
And Peggy might be my favorite character. Like, the more I watched it, the more specifically of the new season.
I'm gonna say this new season she might be.
Yeah, I think that Peggy is my favorite character of the new season, which is insane to say, but she feels the most like she did before. She's definitely like got that Flanderized thing where she's just kind of like really insane all the time, but it, like, I love that about her a little bit.
I really like Joseph's character if he'd had a better voice.
I agree. Something about the voice doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it fits him at all. I think it's because they didn't change his character design pretty much at all. They just made him taller. Like, he still has the little, like, not really a mustache, and he still has his hair the same, you know? It's just like, it feels like I'm still looking at original Joseph, but hearing a different voice, and it's not fun for me, I think. I also wrote down that Dale's Wingo sounded off, because I like that he said Wingo, because, like, that's like one of his little Daleism things, but it felt weird hearing him say it. So there's that. One of my favorite parts of this episode is when Bill is drinking real beer and the non-alcoholic beer, and he's like going back and forth, and he's like, I can't even tell the difference. And he smashes him on his head, and then Luke Jr. is drinking a non-alcoholic beer, and he tries to do it too, and he knocks himself out. That made me, like, audibly laugh out loud. That was one of my favorite parts of this episode. Because that felt like something, like, Luke Jr. feels like it's going to be the replacement for Bobby, and it's going to be like just a kid who's an absolute fucking idiot, you know. And so I did really like that. I thought it was kind of funny. I also wrote down both my dads, because when Bobby is like going with Chain's friends, there's like gay people in the show now, and that, I wrote that down because it didn't really feel forced. Like, the transgender joke felt forced. There's a lot of other stuff later that feels kind of like forced representation, you know? Like, they're like, we gotta have more gays in here. but that just kind of felt like very offhand. They just said it and then moved on with their day, you know? So I like that. I also really like that it's Bobby versus Hank. I wrote that down too. Just because that feels like, it felt like the dog dancing episode where Bobby's dancing with Lady Bird, and then he has to dance with Doggy, and Hank is dancing with Lady Bird. It felt like that, but like a grown-up version of that. So I do kind of like that dynamic being back. I also have it wrote down that I love that Joseph is like a little Dale. Like, when he was doing the stakeout.
I do love that too.
Because it makes sense that somebody who was raised by Dale would be like on stakeouts. Dale would be there, and like I was wondering why I didn't find anything in the trash because Joseph has already looked in it, you know?
He's a perfect mixture of Dale and John Redcorn, and I love that.
I think it makes so much sense to me, and like they really nailed his character. And I kind of like got used to his voice later on in the series just because I'd been like watching it so much. But his character does feel really good. Like Joseph and Peggy feel the most like their old characters so far. Me and you have already talked about this, but we gotta talk about it on stream. And it's the fucking trash bag roll.
That's probably one of my favorite parts of this entire season.
I truly think that might be my favorite part of the entire fucking season. It was so funny, and like it comes out of nowhere, and he does it so cleanly, and like I love it. And I love when Dale's driving away in a fucking the Bugabago, and you can see the giant ant on top, and he's like, "They'll never know it's me." And he's driving away. Like the little stakeout scene was really good. I liked when Dale and Joseph are like smoking a cigarette together because that also just like it feels like it would make so much sense for Dale's kid, you know. Where else are we? Also, Hank's voice sounds like Hank, but I also think that Mike Judge is starting to merge him with Beavis a lot. And when he says, "These are the stories of Texas," it sounded so much like Beavis that I literally wrote down, "These are the stories of Texas, comma, sounds like Beavis." Because I've watched it several times and I can still very much hear Beavis saying that. Like when Beavis does his little like, tries to be, what is it called? Like he's talking to Butthead and he's being like, "You're gonna score." Like it sounded so much like that. What else do I wrote down here, Big Mama? Oh, and Hank's beer story really felt like it wrapped up the episode perfectly. It felt like something that would happen in original King of the Hill. So I really liked that. And he's just like, "Hey man, I'm just a guy who made beer because I like it and I love propane and that's what I do." And I really like that about Hank's character. I also have I have it wrote down when Hank is inside the Megalomart because he's just like needing something to do and he asks for bath mats and the guy's like, "We don't have bath mats, we only have bathroom mats." And then Hank goes over and he finds the beer brewing thing and he goes, "Sir, those aren't bathroom mats." He said, "That's for brewing beer." And you have to read a bunch of instructions. I really like that, and I love that Hank continuously fucking hates the Megalomart. That's really funny to me.
It felt like that scene where he's looking for the L pipes.
Yeah. And that, like, I like when they do callbacks to the older episode like that without just like straight up doing it, you know?
Like showing a flashback of him or something.
Yeah. So that was good. Oh. I also wrote down that Peggy, substitute Spanish teacher of the year, right? She tells Bobby that she's making quesadillas instead of quesadillas, and that is, one, very perfect for Peggy. Two, I just think it's so funny. Like, I love that Peggy is constantly being shown that she cannot fucking speak Spanish at all. But she's so confident on her Spanish skills.
It's crazy that real life people say quesadilla like that too.
I hate it. When I hear somebody say quesadilla in real life, it makes me want to walk away from them. Like, like conversation is immediately over. I've got to go if you say quesadillas. I like that Peggy goes, I've got to go teach my, I think it's Pilates instructor how to run a class. And then later on in the episode, she's working out at home. So it kind of implies that she's got kicked out of the class. Which is so funny. It makes so much sense for Peggy. And I just fucking love that.
Somebody pointed out that in there they show her feet, and she has small feet instead of comically large feet.
I noticed that too, and I don't like it. I don't like that, like, the whole entire, 16 seasons of the first episode, what? of the original series is being, like, rammed into our head that she has, and it's not even that she has normal size feet. If you watch the, like, new season, she has almost even small feet.
Yeah, like she got hers broke down or something in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, like they cut them halfway off. Like they were like, this is a man, you're gonna get your feet chopped off. It doesn't make any sense. They're talking about putting a gun in their mouth or whatever. This joke felt like old King of the Hill, but also maybe a little too far. But where Dale goes, ask Bill, he's the only one of us that's had a gun in his mouth. That, like, kind of felt like old King of the Hill in a way, but also kind of felt like, alright, girls, you know? I also wrote down, I really like when Bobby comes over to visit and he brings more laundry and he's like, I've got to go to the bathroom, and Hank's like, okay, you'll find that the garage is locked. Like he's scared that Bobby's gonna go in there and like fuck with his shit.
I thought he said that his machines broke too, because that's what Peggy asks as soon as he comes in. He's like, oh, your machine's still broke? He's like, yeah.
Yeah, he lied and said that his washing machine was broke. I also liked that everyone was kind of like mean to Peggy the whole episode, and then she's like, at the very end, she's just like drunk as shit, and she's mixing them together. And I really like this episode. She named
it after herself.
Yeah. For a new episode, like, if it was coming out when the original season was coming out, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it felt like an old episode, but not as good. And then for a reboot, I gave it a solid 9 out of 10 because it is a reboot and I'm trying to be fair to it, but it was also like kind of good.
It was one of my favorite episodes for sure.
Yeah, I think that it might be my favorite episode of the new season. I want to stop calling it a reboot, but like, this next one is my least notice on. So it's gonna be a short episode. Goodbye, we love you. If you almost went like that again. If you made it this far, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment for sure, bitch, because we respond to every single comment on the little thing, unless you're John and you were commenting on our last live and then we did not comment back to you. But you get what you deserve. Also, what else? Subscribe too, girl. We're almost at 300 subscribers and it's making me sick how long we've been at, like,
in our 90s.
I know. It's been like at least 2 months that we've been at 290 something, and I'm sick of it. Just me bitching. But we'll see you in the next one. Bye.